Fallen leaves blanketed the ground like a fading memory as Martha made her way home from the cemetery. She had just visited her son, as she did every month, bringing fresh flowers and quiet tears. Once she came every week, sitting for hours beside his grave, whispering into the silence. But time had taken its toll. Her legs ached, her back throbbed, and the walk grew longer with every passing year. It had been 10 years since Jonathan's accident. A single mother all her life, Martha had raised her boy alone after his father left her before the baby was even born. A career teacher, she had poured her soul into both the classroom and her child. No time for romance, no energy for herself. Jonathan had become a taxi driver. He worked long shifts, always picking up extra routes within the city or even long distance, whatever it took to make ends meet. There was food on the table, the bills were paid, but his wife, Danielle, she wanted what her friends had. Vacations, designer handbags, expensive coats. It's embarrassing, she'd complain. All the other mums show up in furs and gold, and here I am in the same worn coat for the 4th year running. After she gave birth to their daughter, Lily, Danielle never returned to work. Jonathan took everything on his shoulders. One winter night, exhausted from a back-to-back shift, Jonathan fell asleep at the wheel. His car veered off the road and into a frozen ditch. He didn't survive the crash. Everything changed after that. Danielle grew bitter and cold. She and Martha still lived together in the same 3-bedroom apartment, but the warmth was gone. Soon, Danielle insisted they split the home, that she needed space. Martha protested. She didn't want to live alone, but Danielle had already found a way. She convinced the older woman to sign papers to help with paperwork. 6 months later, Martha was evicted from her own home. Danielle had a new man, a fresh start, and no room for a grieving grandmother. Martha wandered from office to office, pleading her case. She reported the deception to the police, begged social services, asked lawyers for advice, but no one helped her. "You sign the papers," they said. "It's legal." They treated her like a crazy old woman who hadn't read the fine print. Eventually, she gave up and applied for a place in a social shelter for displaced seniors. The rooms were cramped, the air stale, but it was warm and safe. There, she helped however she could, watching over children, tutoring teens, peeling potatoes in the kitchen. She wanted to earn her keep. She couldn't just sit and do nothing. Her granddaughter Lily never visited. She didn't call. She didn't send cards. Martha still remembered every birthday. Even when she could barely afford groceries, she found a way to bring a small gift and waited by the schoolyard fence, hoping for a glimpse. One afternoon, Martha spotted her. 15 now, laughing with friends, dressed in trendy clothes and earbuds in her ears. Martha approached slowly. nervously smoothing down her old cardigan. "Lily, sweetheart, it's me, Grandma." Lily recoiled. "Do I know you?" Her friends looked her up and down and burst into giggles. "That your grandma? Smells like a dumpster," one of them sneered. Humiliated, Martha turned away. Her heart felt like it had shattered all over again. But she didn't stop loving the girl. On the first of the month, after receiving her small pension, Martha made a careful list. Groceries, cleaning supplies, a small gift for Lily. She set out early, before the store got too crowded. As she waited in line at the register, she overheard the cashier berating the woman ahead of her. The young mother fumbled with coins, whispering apologies. She was short by a few cents for 2 cartons of milk. "If you don't have enough, put one back," the cashier snapped. "People like you hold up the line every day." "Just give her the milk," Martha said softly, stepping forward. "Here, I'll pay for it." The young woman turned, eyes brimming. "Thank you. I don't know what to say," but the cashier kept outside. The grateful young woman approached Martha again. "My name's Angela," she said. "You really didn't have to do that. Are you okay? Do you need help getting home?" "I'm fine, dear. Just tired." "My name's Martha." They sat on a nearby bench and began to talk. Angela lived alone with her 2 young daughters in a small apartment a few blocks away. Her husband, Russell, had died 3 years ago, under mysterious circumstances, while working a mining contract in Alaska. Martha hesitated, but finally agreed. It turned out to be the blessing neither of them expected. Angela's daughters adored Martha. They followed her everywhere, helped her cook, listened wide-eyed to her stories. Martha, in turn, felt like she had a purpose again. She sewed, read bedtime stories, helped with homework, even cleaned out their dusty storage closet one rainy Sunday. That's when she found the aluminum canister. Curious, she pried it open. Inside were several pouches of something heavy, glittering. "Angela," she called out, "come look at this." Angela stared in disbelief. It was gold dust. "Russell, he mentioned something like this once. He said he was saving something for us, just in case. But I never thought." At the bottom of the canister, there was a note in Russell's handwriting. He had been secretly collecting gold from the mine, planning to surprise his family with a better life. But others must have found out. The note hinted at danger. He hadn't trusted anyone, not even his co-workers. Angela brought the evidence to the authorities. With renewed pressure and proof, they reopened the case. Justice at last began to take shape. The state took its portion of the gold. But what remained was enough to rebuild their lives. Angela used part of it to renovate the apartment, pay off debts, and finally buy a proper gravestone for Russell. She also helped Martha purchase a small studio nearby. Her own home, at last. They remained close. Martha was no longer just a house guest. She was family. The girls called her Grandma without hesitation. One sunny afternoon, while walking in the park with the girls and their new kitten, a gift from Grandma, of course, Martha ran into an old neighbor from her past life. "Oh, Martha," the woman gasped. "I thought you disappeared after all that mess with your daughter-in-law." Then she leaned in, whispering, "You know, Danielle's girl, Lily? She's not even Jonathan's. That's why Danielle always kept you at arm's length. She knew it wasn't his child." Martha blinked. "That explains so much." "I don't care," she replied calmly. "I wish them peace, but I've already found my family." With her head held high, she turned back toward the playground, where Angela and the girls were waving at her, their laughter rising like music through the summer air. She smiled. She still had one dream left: to live long enough to see those girls grow into strong, kind women, and maybe, just maybe, walk one of them down the aisle someday.